First, I'd like to say thank you and congratulations to Dr. Emer O'Connor, and congratulations to the Tyrone Guthrie Centre in Annaghmakerrig on its 40th birthday. Annaghmakerrig has been wonderful for me over the years. I first went in 1984, and it's been one of the places where I've had the happiest times of my life, I think it's true to say. It's worked for me in all the ways you would expect. One thing that has always happened to me in Annaghmakerrig is that from the very first time, when I'm there, I often find myself writing something that wasn't planned at all, that wasn't on my agenda or my program when I booked or when I arrived. So, for instance, the first time I remember my plan was to revise my first collection of short stories, Blood and Water, and I did that. But I also found myself moving into another zone and writing poems inspired by the beautiful surroundings of the Tyrone Guthrie Centre, by the walks in the woods and along the boreens and so on and so forth. Another way that it's worked for me is when I'm not in Annaghmakerrig. I dream of Annaghmakerrig, and sometimes the memories again, of the place and of the surroundings, I find inspiring and useful. And I'm going to read a little piece from my latest collection of short stories, Little Red and Other Stories, where I am inspired by a place or places close to Annaghmakerrig. I think the last time I was there, a couple of years ago, I drove around a bit, different from my first days when I wouldn't have had a car or anything, but I explored some of the towns in the neighbourhood, Cootehill and Clones and so on. Some of them I'd never been to even before. And I wanted to locate this particular short story in a town in a border county, and I began to think about these places, and I created a fictional town, but based on my memories of those towns not too far from Annaghmakerrig. So I'll just read a little piece from that story. At this point, it's about 3 schoolgirls in the 1960s. We couldn't go home for lunch, so we spent most of our time wandering around and looking in the shop windows. There were 2 drapery shops. Waters sold everything: children's clothes, flowery overalls for old ladies, and the other kind of thick blue overalls for farmers. That wasn't very interesting. Emily's boutique was. Its owner, whose name was Madge, sold jeans and expensive tops, short fashionable frocks, dramatic shoes, slingback stiletto heels. In the autumn, she filled the window with long gowns for the Debs balls, which were introduced to our town around the same time as the free education. Red silk, white muslin, black satin. In spring, Madge displayed bridal gowns. Naturally, we spent a lot of time examining what was on offer there and deciding what sort of bridesmaids' frocks and wedding dresses we would choose. I was for a princess style, and my bridesmaids would wear pale green. Evelyn favoured mermaid with pink, and Nora, already plump, was going to go for a modern slinky style in cream with royal blue bridesmaids. In the event, cream is what she chose. She married before any of us, the year after the leaving. We should have been the bridesmaids in royal blue, but she didn't have any. It was a quiet wedding. I also loved to look in the window of McCardle's, the hardware shop. There were thousands of objects in that window. It was said that Mrs. McArdle put things in, forgot about them, and never took them out again. That there were ornaments and objects that had been sitting in that window for 50 years gathering dust. Teapots, vases, sets of fancy wine glasses, pictures of little girls with big dogs, little girls with little dolls, little girls weeping from enormous round brown eyes, a food processor, a sewing machine, statues of plaster and plastic, some holy, some not. There were so many things in the window that there was always something I hadn't seen before, no matter how often I looked. This I found intriguing, because often the thing I hadn't seen had obviously been there for ages. I engaged in this particular bit of window shopping on my own. Nora and Evelyn weren't interested in McArdle's. I don't know why, but I was addicted to that window. I was standing there, pondering the use I might have for a blue willow pattern china milk jug and sugar bowl in my future life, when somebody touched me on the shoulder and requested that I go back with her to school. Somebody, Mrs. McCarran, the French teacher. The thing she had to tell me was that my father was in the hospital. The tractor had turned over on him as he was collecting bales of silage from the hill field. He was already dead when she tapped me on the shoulder, but she didn't tell me that. It's possible that she didn't know. Thank you. But you weren't recording at all.